Danny Green tried one of these later in the game, got called for a foul. That's a great play. Great play.
Yeah, you gotta like the hustle, too.
Landry Shamet's struggling a bit.
First game of the day, Celtics, Raptors. Jaylen Brown puts Rondé Hollis-Jefferson on skates, sinks the jumper.
Awesome game by that young man. Outstanding.
Maybe the best game he's ever played, given the fact that it's Christmas Day against the Raptors. Now, I know the Raptors didn't have Siakam, but they still have so much length.
Yep.
He is. I criticized that contract, and I still think it was an overpay, but he's playing well.
No, he's
Credit to Jaylen Brown.
The shoes.
Well, the shoes,
oh, yeah.
He had mismatched shoes on.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys here, Embiid,
So did Embiid. Joel Embiid had also, I don't know if
that's kind of stylish now, right?
Oh, these kids.
Young boys.
Bucks and Sixers. Giannis throwing down the one-hand jam in transition here.
By the way, Sixers better than the Bucks. Giannis, the torch has been passed to Joel Embiid. These are the rules. You lose on Christmas. You no longer get to be as good as you were prior to Christmas. It's a shame for the Bucks, too. I thought they had played really well. Giannis, I thought, was going to be the MVP.
Well, there's always
now he's not even the best player in his time zone. It sucks. I don't know what you're going to do, but those are the rules. Good play, though. One of them.
I dig your sarcasm.
Freak.
All right, to the NFL now, where the Eagles and Cowboys are vying for the NFC East title. For Carson Wentz and the Birds, the playoff math is simple. Beat the Giants Sunday and you're in. For Dak Prescott and the boys, the playoff math is not as simple. They have to beat Washington and hope that the Eagles fall to the Giants. You always want to hope in math. That's what it's all about. Nick, who do you like winning the NFC East?
I'll be quick here because I am so interested in Broussard's opinion on this because he's not the only person. Broussard's not.
You should mention Broussard has the Cowboys.
Yeah, I didn't mean to spoil it, but Broussard thinks that the Eagles are going to lose. Well, that's the key here. I think everyone thinks Cowboys are going to beat Washington. The key is this really isn't a question about the Cowboys. It's about, do you think the Eagles are going to beat the New York bleeping Giants? And a lot of people seem to be thinking, I'm not so sure about that. So who do I think is going to win the NFC East? The Eagles. Why? Because all I got to do is beat the Giants. And to me, there is as good of a likelihood that the Giants beat the Eagles as there is that Washington beats Dallas. Like, people are once again just, well, of course Dallas is going to win because why? Well, because they've shown to be so consistently great this year. But Philly could lose. So I've got Philly. I would be shocked if Philly loses and Dallas wins. Explain to me, my friend, and I apologize for stealing the
No, it's all right. Well, it was Jenna, really.
I did it, my fault.
Quick quiz. What do I have?
A lot of money, fame,
Pick,
family.
you know what I've got.
Integrity.
Pick integrity.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
good.
picked the Dallas Cowboys to win this division in the beginning of the season, and I am sticking with it. But there are some reasons, I believe. Number one, Philly's not that good. I don't think going in there and beating a dysfunctional 7-7 Dallas Cowboys team that, granted, I'm thinking is going to win the division, is reason to celebrate. Like, people acted like, okay, the Eagles are back. They've arrived. They're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. No. 3 weeks before that, they had lost to Miami. So and then all the injuries, maybe Zach Ertz doesn't play. So that's number one. They're not that good. Number two, I think they're in for an emotional letdown. They were so hyped up for the Cowboys game. They treated it like a playoff game, which for them, it was, theoretically. Okay, they treated it like that. And then afterwards, you hear Doug Peterson talking like it was the game of the year. I mean, now he's crowned Carson Wentz. He's arrived. He's getting there now. No. It was a good regular season win, but they have talked it. They are so hyped about it that I think they could have an emotional letdown. Number three, the New York Giants are actually playing pretty good football. They won 2 straight. I know it's Miami and Washington, but hey, those teams, Miami beat Philadelphia. Washington gave them some trouble, and these Giants just a couple weeks ago took Philadelphia to overtime with Eli Manning in Philadelphia. So now Daniel Jones coming off his best game of his career. I think he's the only rookie to have a game like that, 350 yards, no interceptions, 5 TDs. He's had a couple of other 4-touchdown games, and they are going to be up for the Eagles. You know, it's not like the last game of the year, let's get the season over with.
Oh,
1, 2,
I don't
3,
know about that part. That's the part I don't know.
You think I don't think they're thinking about Dallas. If you're thinking they don't want to help Dallas, I think they're looking at it like, look, we have a chance to spoil it for another rival.
Yeah.
Because they're both rivals. We will have a chance to spoil it for Philadelphia. So they're going to be up. Pick integrity prevails, and so do the Giants.
So let me just say something about the Giants real quick, because the Giants, they've won back-to-back games, which is really impressive for a team that prior to these last 2 games have won 2 games all year. After winning back-to-back games earlier in the season, they then promptly went on to lose 7 consecutive football games. Was it 7 straight or 9 straight? I forget. There's a lot of games in a row they lost. They did beat Miami, and then they just went to overtime with Washington. Washington, who beyond any belief didn't go for 2 at the end of that game, they ended up losing the game in overtime. I don't think Philly's great, but Philly is, in my estimation, they understand what is in front of them. And what is in front of them is the same thing that was in front of them in the Dallas game, which is win this game and we go to the playoffs. For them to do what they did against Dallas defensively, which has been, to me, the weakest point of this team, because offense we can use, I don't want to say even the excuse, the explanation of injuries, right? Philly's offense has really, that passing attack's been ruined by injuries, and Wentz has turned the ball over too much. Defensively, against an offense that's been putting up points on everybody this year in the Cowboys offense, they held them out of the end zone. And now you're going...
You overstated the Cowboys offense a little bit.
Okay, well, an offense that's top 5 in points and top 5 in yards going into the game. An offense that throughout the season, aside from the monsoon against New England, has been able to move the football.
New Orleans couldn't score
New Orleans, you know what, that's a good point. New Orleans, early in the year in the game, Drew Brees didn't play. Totally fair point. But throughout the course of the year, this was one of the Cowboys' least potent offensive days, and it was their most important day of the year. I just don't see Philly responding to that by gagging a game away against the Giants. Philly could not have played worse against the Giants 3 weeks ago, and they won. Like that game, they let Eli all of a sudden look like it was, I don't even know what year that would have been, 2011 for Eli Manning.
For a half.
Yeah, for a first half. Their offense was absolutely unconscious in a bad way for 2.5 quarters, and they still won that football.
Isn't there something to be said for the fact right now the Eagles, for arguably the first time all season, are actually playing as a team. They kind of are all on the same page. And the Cowboys, who we will talk about a little bit later, seem a little fractured. Like Jason Garrett has clearly lost that locker room. They're coming off a terrible loss. They don't know who the real leader is. Is there something to emotion and momentum that can actually drive the Eagles?
I don't think the Eagles are playing that great. I think it was one game. I mean, like I said, a few weeks ago they lost to Miami. Then the Giants took them to overtime.
Carson's had 3 great games.
Carson has played well, but these guys that he's throwing the ball to, handing the ball to, they've played maybe above their heads. Are they going to continue to do that? They had something to prove. We belong in this league. We can play in this league. Do they relax a bit? Now that they've kind of proven that. Now that people, even their coach has said, look, you guys are playing great. So I just think that they could be in for a letdown. The Giants would be on a high.
The perfect ending to the NFC East season would be if Philly does lose to the Giants, but Dallas also loses to Washington, and Philly gets in by default. That's the way this pillow fight of a division should end.
The last part.
Yeah, it's both teams like all of a sudden.
Nick, you have said this entire season that the Eagles only function when they have like some sort of theme pushing them. That Doug Peterson has been looking for something, whether it's the underdog.